guess you realize you were coming to a birthday party. Everybody's all dressed for a birthday party. I love this. You know whose birthday it is. It's the world. It's the world's birthday. And you know how old the world is today? 5,779. You were right. 79. So I was going to point out, I don't know if you do this, my family, we play this game all the time, that the secular calendar date is 9/9/18, which is like double chai. Did you get that? 9 and 9 is 18, and we're in 2018, so we're like a double chai moment. I think it's very cool. I think it's an auspicious date. I hope so. And as I pointed out, I made this up on Friday night that things will be fine in 57, 79. You know, things were great in 57, 78. Not necessarily for everybody, but I'm trying. If you come up with a good slogan, and maybe it'll, convince yourself of that. I'm going to start with some words of inspiration, but actually, I need to tell you some important things. Number one, I love you very much, and there was a thing about how prayer was the first wireless call or something like that. I don't remember. It's clever. I laugh every time I see it, but I would love for you to turn off your phones. So, as someone told me the other day, the phone rang in the middle of a service, and the pastor stopped and said, "That better be God calling." That's what the shofar is for, is to call God, and you don't have to do your phone for that. So please turn that off. And I want to remind you, especially as we get, this book, the Machzor, is a special book that we use only for the High Holy Days, only from Rosh HaShanah through Yom Kippur. One way of looking at it is we start at the beginning, and once we get to the very, very end, it's done. But it's not quite that simple. You will find that most of the time we might jump forward. Every once in a while we'll fall backwards, but only for short temporary things. What we have found is that the second Rosh HaShanah service speaks to us more. So we only go back to the first. Did anybody here grow up doing 2 days of Rosh HaShanah? Because I did. So very few. But I did 2 days. And in the Reform movement, we did 2 days. So they have, in the Reform prayer book, they have 2 days of Rosh HaShanah, but I usually pick the second day things. But I want to remind you that as we progress through this book, the standing times are going to get longer and longer and longer. And so I want to remind you that if you cannot stand, please don't. It's not you're supposed to live by the commandments and not die by the commandments. But remember that if you need to sit, it was a traumatic Yom Kippur for me every time I was pregnant or nursing, and I just couldn't stand the whole time. It's hard. And when you have to eat on Yom Kippur and you don't know how much to eat and when to eat, it's traumatic. But I survived. But anyway, reminding you about long-standing times, be ready for that. Remember that this book is the one that went with the Big Blue, we called it, that came out in the 1970s. It is going to use words to describe God that we have evolved beyond. For example, it's going to say the word Lord a lot. And I tend to avoid using that word. You can talk to me anytime you want. I'll be happy to have a conversation with you about why I don't like to use that word. But some people sitting next to you are going to say Lord, and some are going to say God, and some are going to say eternal and other things. I love that when you see that word, it means you've got to think about it for a second, whatever it is. Even if you say the word that's in there, it means that you're thinking. We are also, because this book was from the 70s, this book doesn't include the matriarchs in some of the prayers. It wasn't until the prayer book that came out in the 1990s in the Reform movement that they made it more gender sensitive. And you will find, though, that even though you're not going to see the matriarchs, the prayers that we're used to singing or reading with matriarchs, we're not going to be able to avoid saying them. It's really hard to stop. So you may hear us say words that aren't in here. There are transliterations in this book, but they come at the very end of the book. They'll start on page 535, and they will continue to progress as we're going through. And so occasionally I will be able to stop and say, by the way, the transliteration for this is on page such and such. I can't always stop because of the way we treat our choir to run like a finely tuned machine. But know that if we do one prayer, we're about to do the next one, however long that takes. Just keep a finger in the back of the book if you need the translations. And you're welcome to join us in any of that Hebrew. If you have children here, I am thrilled, no matter how old the children are, which means 20s, 30s, 50s. I see a whole lot of children there. 60s children, I see a lot of children. But if the children are not comfortable sitting here, it's only going to be about an hour-long service. The lounge, the youth lounge, is the child care room, so please make sure they go there, and please accompany them home. We do have a few large print machzors if you would prefer them. The beauty is that we have large print machzors. The hard part is that they're bigger, so it's like defeating the purpose of it. And if you need, there are kippot yarmulkes in the usher center. Before we begin, I found a couple of words of inspiration. If you peruse the book, you will find meditations that are not in the worship part. I'm looking here on meditation on page 13 that I like. It's a whole paragraph long, but it says part of what I wanted to say, and it makes me feel good to hear this. From year to year, the need becomes more urgent for a religion that teaches reverence for life as its highest principle. Judaism is such a religion. The God it worships does not desire the death of sinners, but that they may turn and live. That God's word is seek me and live, and choose life. It is a religion which teaches that to destroy a single life is to destroy an entire world, and to sustain a single life is to sustain an entire world. It is a religion that yearns above all things for the day when swords shall be beaten into plowshares and spears into pruning hooks, whose aim, in the words of a modern Jewish writer, is the creation of a human being unable to shed blood, whose toast is l'chaim, to life. It is the religion of the Akedah, which is this Torah story we'll be reading tomorrow, which is the symbol of life, not death, because Abraham is forbidden to sacrifice his son. Akedah means the binding of Isaac. It is a religion whose new year is a celebration of life and a plea for its continuance. Remember us unto life, O ruler who delights in life, and inscribe us in the book of life for your sake, O God of life. Our service begins close to the beginning, actually, at the beginning of the second service, which is page 49, I believe. We begin on page 49. The tradition is that when we're lighting candles, we stand. I want to tell you before we light the candles, there are a few people who've been asked to be honored. If you have not been honored, there's still some opportunities on Yom Kippur that I have openings for. Please let me know, because I intend to honor you. Pretend that I am honoring all of you with this. We stand on page 49, and I invite up our candle blessers and our finish blessers.
With the setting of this evening's sun, united with Jews of every place and time, we proclaim a new year of hope. May the light of the divine shine forth to lead us, to show us the good we must do, the harmony we must create. Let the fire we kindle be for us a warming flame whose brightness shows us the path of life. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav tzivanu b'nei yom tov. Blessed is the eternal power that inspires us to kindle the light of Yom Tov. Blessed is the source of life and light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Blessed is the eternal power of the universe, for giving us life, for sustaining us, and for enabling us to reach this season.
Hashem
on page 71.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafos. Blessed is the eternal our God, ruler of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. Blessed is the eternal our God, ruler of the universe, who has chosen us from all peoples, hallowing us with the mitzvot. In your love, O eternal our God, you have given us this day of remembrance, to hear the sound of the shofar, to unite in worship, and to recall the exodus from Egypt. For you have chosen us from all peoples, consecrating us to your service, and your word is eternal truth. Blessed is the sovereign God, ruler of the world, who hallows the house of Israel and the day of remembrance. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehekayanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Blessed is the eternal our God, ruler of the universe, for giving us life, for sustaining us, and for enabling us to reach this season.
Adonai, I cry out to you, and from your holy mountain, your answer comes. I lie down and sleep, and then I'm awake, safe in your hand, and unafraid. Adonai, rise up, help me, O my God, for you, Adonai, are the one from whom help comes, and your blessing rests upon your people. As for me, in your abundant loving kindness, let me enter your house reverently to worship in your holy temple. For all who trust in you, there is joy and everlasting song. You will give them shelter, and all who love your name shall exalt in you. For you give your benediction to the just. Adonai, you throw your favor about them like a shield.
Lift up mine eyes unto the hills.
In our homes and gladness with our friends. We lift up our hearts in thanksgiving as the new year begins.
As the new year begins, our spirits rise in grateful song.
But there were dreams that came to naught, and times when we refused to dream. These, with much regret, we now remember as the new year begins.
As the new year begins, contrition fills our hearts.
Some of our days were dark with grief. Many a tear furrowed our cheeks. Alas, for the tender ties that were broken. We look back with sorrow as the new year begins.
As the new year begins, tears well up within us.
Yet, we look ahead with hope, giving thanks for the daily miracle of renewal, for the promise of good to come. May this Rosh HaShanah, the birthday of the world, be our day of rebirth into life and peace, serenity and safety, as the new year begins.
As the new year begins, so is hope reborn with us.
בחודש השביעי באחד לחודש, יהיה לכם שבתון, זיכרון תרועה, מקרא קודש, כל מלאכת עבודה לא תעשו. In the 7th month, on the first day of the month, there shall be a sacred assembly, a cessation from work, a day of commemoration, proclaimed by the sound of the shofar. Please rise. Tiku b'chodesh shofar. Sound the shofar when the new moon appears, at the turning of the year, at the returning of our solemn celebration. For this is a statute binding on Israel, an ordinance of the God of Jacob. May this year, called 5779, bring to us and the whole house of Israel life and peace, joy and exaltation, redemption and comfort. May this new year bring us life and peace, joy and exaltation, redemption and comfort. Amen. Please remain standing.
Oh
already missed the cue. It's a great year. Praise be Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, whose word brings on the evening.
With wisdom you open heaven's gates. With understanding you make the ages pass and the seasons alternate.
Your will controls the stars as they travel through the sky.
Creator of day and night, you roll light away from darkness and darkness from light. You cause day to pass and bring on the night. The God of all these is your name. O living and eternal God, rule us always to the end of time. Blessed is the God whose word makes evening fall.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ma'ariv Aravim. Unending is your love for your people, the house of Israel. Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts have you taught us. Therefore, O God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and rejoice in your Torah and mitzvot forever.
Day and night we will reflect on them, but they are our life and the length of our days. Oh, may your love never depart from our hearts. Blessed are you, O God. You love your people Israel.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael.
Is on page 536, number 6, if you want to join me. 536, number 6. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אמרתי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננת לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך, והיו תותפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. You shall love your eternal God with all your mind, with all your strength, with all your being. Set these words which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way. When you lie down and when you rise up, bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be symbols before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. So shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. I am eternal your God, who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I am eternal your God. All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone are our God. There is none else, and we are Israel, your people.
You are our King, delivering us from the hand of oppressors, saving us from the fists of tyrants, doing wonders without number, marvels that pass our understanding. You give us our life, through your help our people have survived all our oppressors.
You did wonders for us in the land of Egypt, miracles and marvels in the land of Pharaoh.
You led your people Israel out, forever to serve you in freedom.
When your children witnessed your power, they extolled you and gave you thanks. Freely they acclaimed you king, and full of joy, Moses and Israel sang this song.
Oh
Sovereign, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. And for your name's sake, be our help.
Shield us from hatred and plague. Keep us from war and famine and anguish. Subdue our inclinations to evil, O God. O God, our guardian and helper, our gracious and merciful ruler. Give us refuge in the shadow of your wings. Guard our coming and our going. And now and always we have life and peace.
Blessed are you, O God, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all Israel, and over Yerushalayim. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabbi, ve'almad yivrach yirutei, ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayecha u'v'yomecha, u'l'chayecha beit Yisrael, v'agala, u'v'zman kari, v'lehu amen, yehesh merabah mekara, le'alam u'ameh amayla, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpahar v'yitromam v'yinaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'alal, shemeh t'kudesha, le'la mikol berchata v'shirata, tu'shevata v'yechemata, rami rama, v'yeru, amen. Adonai, you are our God, even as you were the God of Abraham and Sarah, the God of our fathers and mothers, the God of all the ages of Israel.
They are our past, as we are their future.
We recall their vision and pray for the strength to keep it alive. Help us, O God and shield, to keep their faith.
O God, shield of Abraham, Sarah's help, and all generations, be our help, our shield, our God. Responsibly. Love is the thread that binds our lives in a lasting fabric which time shall fray. Which time shall fray, but only to be removed by each generation.
Each generation will lift the fallen to their feet and hold them as they learn to walk.
And as they learn to walk, the sickness of our time will be healed by those who drink deep from ancient wells of truth.
From ancient wells of truth, they will draw strength to keep faith with those who sleep in the dust.
We praise the source of life and power, who has implanted within us immortal yearning, undying hopes.
Atah kadosh, you are holy, v'shimcha kadosh, and your name is holy. U'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalalu chasela, and those who strive to be kadoshim, holy, will praise you day by day. You may be seated. Now in awe, we behold the wonder of being, an awesome pageant of shapes and forms, yet all akin, one family of life. We pray for wisdom and treasure
all creation.
We ask
for insight to see its glory. We hope for courage to trust its goodness. We yearn for grace to fill the world with light.
world released from sorrow to joy. The bowed head shall be raised, the bent back made straight. Those who dragged their chains shall dance and sing. O may violence give way to goodness, the land be cleansed of tyrants, and the prophet's word redeemed. Peace shall rule the earth.
The eternal shall reign forever. Your God of Zion, from generation to generation. Hallelujah.
Holy is life, awesome its source. One mind unites all being, one law rules all creation. As it is written,
Holy God is sanctified by righteousness.
Baruch atah Adonai, Melech HaKadosh.
Blessed is creation, and blessed the law of sustainment.
The house of Israel is called to holiness, to a covenant with the eternal for all time.
We are called to serve the Most High. May we rejoice in this heritage forever.
May this day add meaning to our lives. Let the shofar sound awaken the voice of conscience. Our common worship unite us in love. Our memories of bondage impel us to help the oppressed. On this day of remembrance, we pray for awareness. Let love and compassion grow among us, and goodness be our daily care. This day may we find holy meaning. This day may we discover the eternal strength that lies among us. This day may we be helped to a life that is whole. Amen. You transcend our deepest thought and elude the keenest eye, yet all who dwell on earth may find you. Every creature's form proclaims your glory, for all that breathes is one creation, children of a single kingdom. Thus was it written of old, the eternal God of Israel is the king whose dominion extends to all creation.
The kingdom of the Lord is the name of freedom. Blessed is the law that sets us free to find gladness and joy. Praise be the power that makes for freedom, that blesses the house of Israel and the day of remembrance.
This is one of the few times that you will have an opportunity to say the prayers that are in your hearts. You take a moment to say the prayer. a world where miracles spring up to meet us along the way. We hold you close and give thanks for morning light, for evening calm.
Sun and moon, sea and sky, snow and mist, city streets and country lanes. What joy to know you, how excellent to touch you.
To live and nothing more would be enough to make us glad. Yet morning, noon, and night, a task awaits us.
The lost and hungry to be found and fed, the sick and sad to be healed and cheered, a peaceful world to be built and met.
Blessed is the gift of life. Blessed the source of life and its tasks. We read responsibly. Words there are and prayers, but justice there is not, nor yet peace.
The prophet said, in the end of days, God shall judge the human nations. They shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks.
Although we must wait for judgment, we may not wait for peace to fall like rain upon us.
The teacher said, those that make peace in their house, it is those that live and brought peace to all Israel, indeed to all the world.
Peace will remain a distant vision until we do the work of peace ourselves. If peace is to be brought into the world, we must bring it first to our families and communities.
The psalmist said, seek peace and pursue it.
Be not content to make peace only in your own household. Go forth and work for peace wherever men and women are struggling in its cause. We take another moment of silent prayer. our service, our hearts and our prayers turn to those who are ill or recuperating. You do not have the prayer in your prayer books. I have one here. If you would like to call out names for whom you would like us to be saying prayers of recuperation or health, I invite you to call out names.
Cindy Tatelman. Maureen Antonelli.
Lorraine Smith.
Jane Rosen.
Peter O'Connor.
Joey Peter Denson.
Maribel Dunham.
For all these names, for the names we choose to hold in our hearts, we pray, we are grateful, O God, for the gift of life and for the healing powers that you have implanted within your creatures. Sustain the loved ones we hold in our hearts through these days of illness with the courage and fortitude they need to endure weakness and pain. Help us to find ways to show our love and concern for them so that we may be an influence for good in their time of need. And may all who suffer illness of body or mind know that you are with them, giving them strength of spirit as they struggle to recover. May their afflictions soon be ended, and may they return in health to family and friends. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. We praise you, the source of healing. And we add, Mishaberach Avotenu V'imotenu. May the one who blessed and protected our ancestors guard all those whom we have entrusted with the responsibility of defending our freedom and protecting us in this country, in the land of Israel, and everywhere they've been called to serve. May they return home safely. And let us say, Amen. We continue on page 69. Please rise when the ark is open. We read together in English on page 69. Our Father, our King, hear our voice. Our Father, our King, we have sinned against you. Our Father, our King, have compassion on us, our children. Our Father, our King, make an end to sickness, war, and famine. Our Father, our King, make an end to all oppression. Our Father, our King, strike us for us in the book of life. Our Father, our King, let the new year be a good year for us. Our Father, our King, give strength to the people of Israel. Our Father, our King, be gracious and answer us, for we have little merit. Treat us generously and with kindness, and be our help.
Oh
people that we honor here, by the way, are past presidents. I'm not going to announce everybody for honor, although I probably should at some point. You can find out why we're chosen. But Sue and Buddy are the only presidents who are husband and wife. They weren't presidents together. There were a number of years that actually separated between them being presidents. You can't hear me? Oh, that's terrible to know. Let's try to fix this. And Fred and Sydney and Fred can. Is that better?
Yes.
Can you hear me? That's not good. But you didn't hear me? Should I start all over again? Jana. But Sydney and Fred are the only two father and son, parent and child, I think, out of all of our presidents. No, actually, that's not true. If we go back a number of years. Something we are going to be discussing, by the way, because this year, next year, Rosh HaShanah, we'll begin our year of the 2020, by the way. When we look forward and backward, where in the year 1970, we celebrated 100 years of being in buildings, and in the year 2020, we'll celebrate 150 years. So we have one more year. We're still pedaling quickly to get up to that spot where I'm looking forward to this. There's so much rich history here. But I'll tell you what, the High Holy Days are called days that are full of awe and dread. And I don't know that you're feeling that. I'm feeling like warm and fuzzies from the choir, and everybody seems to be happy and in a good mood. But I can tell you that I personally have been feeling lots of dread and fear. There's something very intimidating about having to come here and inspire you. I'm going to be honest. I started as the rabbi here about 12 years ago. And I have been trying for 12 years to inspire you to be better people and make better choices. But we're back here again. And that frustrates me because I feel like we shouldn't have to be back here again. We should have had a great year and we would be good. And I know I say that almost every year because it frustrates me every year. But we make good choices, we make bad choices, and here we are again. I wanted to tell you a story. And you may have heard this a slightly different way. I was trying to figure out how to tell this story if there were children around. And the way I'm going to tell it then is that a mother came to visit her son, a grown-up son, and she knew that he had a job interview Wednesday. This is a Sunday. They have dinner together Sundays. And he had a job interview on Wednesday. Now, this son tends to wear clean clothes, but sometimes it's wrinkly, and sometimes it's more polo shirts for fancy-ish occasions. And the mother knew that he had a job interview, and she was a little bit stressing about the fact that he couldn't possibly get this job if he's not dressed appropriately for the interview. And so she brings him a brand new suit. It comes on the hanger, and a brand new shirt comes on a hanger. And she said, and next Sunday I'm going to be out of town for a few days, so this is the key to my house. She's got it on a special string so you can hold on to it, and she'll know which one is hers. And he was cooking for her that night, which is a lovely thing. So while he's cooking, she said, "Do you want me to put this in your closet?" And he said, "Yes, that'd be great." So she puts the shirt in the closet and waits until after Wednesday to see how the interview went. By the way, he was a good cook. He made delicious food. And so on Wednesday, she calls and asks how the interview went. And he said, "Oh, it was good. It was good." And she said, "Well, did you wear the new shirt? Did you look good?" He said, "I look great. Yeah, I wore the new shirt and it looked wonderful. Thanks for buying that for me, Mom." And then Saturday comes around, and Sunday he's supposed to watch her house, and he's supposed to water the plants on Sunday, and he can't find the key anywhere. He can't remember what he did with it. He can't remember where she put it. And so Saturday night late, you know what's going to happen, right? Saturday night late, he calls Mom and he says, "Mom, this is terrible. I can't find your key. I know it was on that special string, and I just don't know where it is. I know when you showed it to me. What did you do with it?" And she said, "If you had worn the shirt on Wednesday, you would know what I did with it because I stuck it in the pocket of the shirt." So why am I telling you that? Because to some extent, telling the truth, learning how to deal with people, that's all part of what Rosh HaShanah and Yom Kippur is about. But also, Every month I try to come up with inspiring words that I put in the bulletin. Every week I try to come up with inspiring words that I say in the sermons. And the reason why I'm telling the story about the key is because if you read the September bulletin or the August bulletin, I asked you, please tell me if you're reading this bulletin, because we're trying a new experiment about putting it, not having it print for everybody. And you know how many people called me to tell me they read the bulletin? As many people as wear that new shirt on. So I don't know if it means you're not reading it or you are. We're trying. We're trying something new. The president is writing inspired words, and the new educational director is writing inspired words, and I am. I thought I had a great inspiration this week. It had to do with video games. Did you read it this month? Video games. It has to do with safe places in your games. Because that's what I feel a little bit like Rosh HaShanah and Yom Kippur are. Anytime you come to pray, anytime, I feel like it's kind of a safe place. If you play video games at all, and we do, then you know that sometimes you're about to do something really difficult, and you fail. But sometimes, if it's a game that you enjoy, it's got a save spot, so that you can stop at the save spot, try the difficult thing, and when you don't succeed, you go back to that same spot. You don't have to start all the way at the beginning. Read it. It was a really good article. I'm just saying. So I was stressed because we have the largest crowd here tonight that we have the whole year. That shouldn't stress me any more than the rest of the year. I'm always trying to help. I see there's almost nobody here that I don't see at some point in the year. We have some new people. We have some faces I don't get to see. Some people from out of town. But almost everybody I see. So there's no reason for me to stress about having to tell you something very inspirational. But part of what does stress me is that it's not just us, because most of us really did do something special this year. Most of us really did improve. I know you. And I know that every Friday night I say, what did you do to make the world a better place? And I know that some of you have taken this very seriously and you've made the world a better place. For some of you, it was cleaning out the closet now that mom found you out. But for some of you, it was other things. We have a congregation filled with people who do incredible things. But the world is also a place where horrible things are going on. Just this week, I guess you may have seen that the synagogue in Mandeville had graffiti all over it, Nazi graffiti all over it, this week. And just a few weeks ago, our cemetery on Texas Avenue was vandalized. A lot of the stones were knocked down, and thank goodness we have Bill Bronick here he sprang into action and spoke to police and spoke to FBI, but also fixed what could be fixed already. And it is a world that I don't know what we're going to do to stop those things from happening. We're trying. I think that I'm looking out at people here, and I know that we're trying to be role models, to try to be people that people know. We can't necessarily stop anti-Semitism, but we can be strengthened by seeing each other here, and we can be strengthened by working together in things, by gathering together. We had a lovely Thursday young adult thing, for example. Whenever you gather together and you show that you're proud of who you are, that helps. Well, I want to remind you that I don't think of us as being failures. I want to remind you that despite some of the words that it says in here, I don't think of us as being what it was calling sinners. I really believe in the concept that chet, that what's translated often as sin, is really missing the mark. I think we try. I think sometimes we make bad decisions. I think we try. And I think that the blessing of life and the blessing of what we do here is that we keep coming back to this moment, not because we love being reminded that we made mistakes the past year, but because we love knowing that we are being given every day a new opportunity to do something good in this world, to make ourselves better, to make choices that we didn't make yesterday, to learn from mistakes, to learn from each other's mistakes, that we're always given new opportunities to continue. We have our tradition, we have the words here, I find them inspiring. We have a magnificent choir this year. I find it inspiring, thank you and thank you. We have great leadership in our congregation to guide us. I think that we are not worse than we were last year. We're not starting from scratch again. We are starting from a saved spot. So, I want to tell you a little story, because I like telling these stories. So, when we talk back about tradition, there was a tradition. This exists in New York, near where I live. People are still doing this. It feels like an ancient kind of a tradition, but it is things that happen now. Has anybody heard of Kapparas? Some people have heard of Kapparas. So this is what happens with Kapparas. If you go near me in the parking lots, you will see lots of chickens and lots of Orthodox Jews, and they take the chickens, I'm just going to describe it, I don't like thinking about it, they take the chicken by the legs, and they put their sins on the chicken, and they swing it around like this. They swing it 3 times around their head. The kapparas is a Yiddish pronunciation for a word that also means atonement. You swing the live chicken over your head 3 times, and you say, in Hebrew or Yiddish, you'd say, this is my exchange, this is my substitute, this is my expiation. And then you take that chicken, and you give it to someone poor, so that they have food to eat for the holiday. So it's not like a horrible, horrible, horrible thing. It's just a little bit horrible. I don't think they're horrible, personally. So as you can imagine, in modern tradition, not everybody likes doing that to chickens. And so some people take, but the idea of being able to give to the poor so that they have something to eat, that's a blessing. So they've come up with a Kapparas Part 2, like 2.0, where they take money and they put it in a bag, and they swing around their head and they say, this is my exchange, this is my substitute, this is my expiation, and they give the tzedakah to someone who needs it. Let them buy their own chicken, no, whatever they want to buy. Whatever they want to buy. So the version that I had read to try to describe it to you, it says that you take a chicken and you sling it around your head. It's unpleasant and awkward too, both for the person and for the chicken. So there was a story about a very righteous Jewish guy who really loved and respected a rabbi who was in his community, and he wanted to see how this particular rabbi does it. I mean, it's an awkward thing, and I don't know, maybe he does it differently. Does he do coins? Does he do a chicken? And he goes to the rabbi and he said, Rabbi, I really want to learn how you do it. And the rabbi said, I do it, it's no big deal. You know who you really want to learn from? Moish. Moish, the innkeeper. But you've got to go to the next town because he lives on the way. And you got to go find Moish. And the man was thrilled that the rabbi was giving him guidance to try to find a way to do this strange thing in a meaningful way. So he goes and he finds Moish. And Moish is an innkeeper, and the inn is kind of disgusting. There's lots of drunk people all around, and it smells bad, and there's smoke smell, and there's alcohol smell. Half the people are passed out, and it was kind of yucky. But the rabbi had told him to go and thought that he was going to learn something from Moish, so he stays. And he goes to Moish, who's, kind of got a dirty apron on him because he's been trying to serve everybody. And he says, Reb Moish, the rabbi told me I should come, and can I stay here tonight? And he says, sure, but I don't have any place for you. I mean, look, this place is not a place. We don't have any room, and you look like you're a fancy guy. I don't think you want to stay here. He says, I'll stay on the corner. Look, you've got a corner over there. Nobody's over there. Let me go over there. And he goes to the corner, and it's not a very comfortable place. He goes to the corner, and he sits there, and he reads. And at the end of the day, Reb Moish kicks everybody out. Finally, friends take the very drunk ones home, and everybody leaves. And he spends a couple hours cleaning up the place. And he totally forgot about the guy in the corner who was sitting quietly. And he sits down, and it was the day before Rosh HaShanah. And he asks his wife to please bring him the book. And so she brings him the book. And he opens up the book, and he starts reading out loud. I've got the book here, and I'm going to read it to you. It says, the 7th day of the month of Cheshvan, shortly before Hanukkah, I overslept. I missed the time to say the morning prayers. The 16th day of the month of Cheshvan, I yelled at the serving girl for being clumsy. The 22nd day of the month of Cheshvan, my dear wife, Yenta Bela, asked me to help her with feeding the chickens. I refused. even though I could have helped her. The 28th of Cheshvan, I gave a lodger the wrong change because I was in a hurry. I still owe him the money because I don't know how to find him. And he kept going, reading on and on and on. He finished everything for Cheshvan. He kept going until Kislev. He continued. By the time he finished reading the entire contents of the book, his face was covered in tears. Ribbon Shalom, Master of the Universe, didn't I make you a promise last year that I would mend my ways and become a better person? Look what's happened. Look what I did with this year you gave me. It's all written in my book, in black and white. I'm full of transgressions. How can I stand before you on Rosh HaShanah, on Yom Kippur, and have the chutzpah to ask you for another year of life and good health and livelihood? And he cried until he finished crying. And then he said to his wife, bring me the other book. So he opens up the other book, and in this book he says, on the 9th day of Kislev, thieves broke into the inn and stole a barrel of vodka. On the 15th of Tevet, part of the barn's roof collapsed. I had to repair it. On the 20th of Shabbat, I tried to stop a brawl in the tavern. I got 2 broken ribs. On the 2nd day of Adar, my little daughter Leah got sick. On the 5th day of Adar, Leah passed away. And he continued turning page after page, reviewing the events that had occurred during the preceding year. When he finished, he closed the notebook and he cried out, Ribbon Shalom, Master of the Universe, last year, didn't I ask you in plain words for a good and sweet new year? A year filled with blessing and peace and happiness? Didn't I trust you and believe that you would answer my prayers? Just look at the year you gave me. It's all written here. It's plain as day. You call this a good year? Well, what can I do? Rosh HaShanah, Yom Kippur are here. And our holy sages tell us that we have to forgive. What am I supposed to do about that? This is what I propose. Let's settle our accounts. I'll forgive you, and you forgive me. Agreed? The innkeeper tied the 2 notebooks together. He stuck it in a bundle and he swung it around his head 3 times. He said, this is my exchange. This is my substitution. This is my expiation. And he threw the bundle out the window. May you be blessed with a good year. Mr. President, do you have announcements for us to tell us how we can start a good year?
I hope this will be a happy, healthy.
Let's see what's going on with this one, sir. I'm here that we can hear you.
I hope this will be a happy, healthy, peaceful year for you, all your families.
Go ahead, try it. Talk.
This is my first time. I have been here Fridays, though. In fact, there's a lot of people here, but it seems like it's almost as many people that were here last Friday for Shabbat, for Sidney Kent's 90th birthday party.
Sidney, we need more birthdays.
A special thank you to Betty and Sue. Thank you for being here to honor us. Services tomorrow will be 10 a.m. in the sanctuary. Please come at 4 o'clock tomorrow to the Glen on Florida Lucas. Cast your crummy sins, our Tashlik ceremony with Rabbi Jana and Cantorial leading the ceremony. We have many holidays and events coming up. You can find it in this month's bulletin, and we have printed copies for you to take on the way out at the end of Leftwoods Hall. There will be members of the youth group handing out bags at the end of the service. They will hand out bags Rosh HaShanah and have bins ready to collect non-perishable food beginning with Yom Kippur and continuing through the end of Sept. Please help them with this mitzvah and remember to donate food. For your own safety, please, children of any age cannot leave services without adult supervision. If a child is distracting during services, please bring them to the child care room. We would like to take this time to thank the choir. It's very, very special to have the beautiful music and everyone who gave donations to make this music possible during the holy days. Spencer Reichman, our music director, and this year, and Adam Philley, our choir director. Special thanks to David Branus and the Brotherhood for our ushers for the holidays, and thank you to Bethany and the Sisterhood for providing the takeaway, the sweet apple snack after Rosh HaShanah tonight. Remember, the office is closed for all Jewish holidays. This includes Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, the first and last days of Sept. Donations were made to B'nai Zion for the pulpit flowers in honor of the High Holy Day services of B'nai Zion by Betty and Jeff Reichman and Spencer Reichman. In loving memory of Edith K. Levy by Henry Brenner. In loving memory of Donald L. Rosen, Ann and Jake Yavinsky by Mr. and Mrs. Larry Yavinsky and family. In loving memory of Gloria and Charlton Meyer by Charlton, Susan, Claire, and Andrew Meyer. In memory of Stephen Muslow by the family. In loving memory of Ruth and Bernard Kallenberg and Betty and Leonard Phillips by Sandy and Jeffrey Kallenberg. In loving memory of Frida and Morris Hyman, Alfred Hyman, Millie Hyman, Esther and Louise Lobel by Dorothy and Bernard Lobel. And in loving memory of Abe and Ray Gilbert, Neil Neerman, Pauline and Lazar Murov by Ruth Neerman and family. And the last thing I'd like to say is that I have always appreciated the Rabbi, and I've always thought we were so lucky to have Rabbi Jana. I knew how much she puts into devoting to making this congregation special. And I just want to say that after having the privilege the last 4 months to serve as your president, I really appreciate it, even more so. And Rabbi, you do inspire us. So, thank you.
Turn up the volume. We continue on page 72. I'm going to call up the people who need to open the ark for us once they get up here. You inspire me. I love this congregation. Please rise for the Elena when the ark is open on page 72.
Thank you, Lord.
supposed to give you the translation page for that. Not being able to get this today. I have a lot to apologize for before you look at it. That's all I can say. The bottom of page 72. May the time not be distant, O God, when your name shall be worshipped in all the earth, and unbelief shall disappear, and error be no more. Can you do this by heart? Remember this one by heart? Would you do this one with me? I think most of us can do this by heart if you grew up with a little blue book. Please join me. Fervently we pray that the day may come when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye, when all who dwell on earth shall know that you alone are God. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your kingdom be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. The eternal dwelling forever and ever. On that day, the Lord shall be one, and your name shall be one. We continue with the Kaddish, and I need to let you know that we don't read names today for the people who have yortzites. Our custom is to read them on Shabbat. But I do feel that we should remember that there are other people, as we say, who we will have a Yizkor service on Yom Kippur. But we also remember that this year we have already lost 23 people in our military. We've lost 100 police officers in the line of duty this year, 19 K-9 officers, 67 firefighters in the line of duty already this year. And I hope that we always stay grateful for the people who run into dangerous situations so that we stay protected. May their memories be a blessing and their families be consoled. But especially at holy days, we remember our loved ones. The light of life is a finite flame. Like a candle, life is kindled. It burns, it glows, it is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance, and our lives are full. But as night follows day, the candle of our life burns down and gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more, and are no more seen. Yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives, we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. We rise for the mourner's Kaddish, which is found at the bottom of page 73. The translation is found on page 73. Yitgadal v'yitchadash shmei hara, be'alma v'yivra v'yitei v'mrei v'malotei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei g'tol Beit Yisrael, ba'arala v'zman karavi v'yirgu amen. Yehei shmei hara v'varach ba'alam u'lamei amalach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yishtar v'yishtamam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shmei k'risha v'yirgu. La'elam mikol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amira v'alma v'yirgu amen. Yehei shalama rabba v'yishmaya. V'chaim aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'yirgu amen. Oseh shalom le'imah. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'yirgu amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. Amen. We will be singing Adon Olam. What? We ready? Did somebody say something? Oh, I thought it was another key. We did not yet miss another key. We will be singing Adon Olam, which is found on page 75. Before we sing, I want to tell you that there will be apple cakes outside the door waiting for you. The sisterhood did help prepare them, but they also had the help of the Camp High campers who made these. If you get the ones in silver wrappers, those have nuts in them. And if you get the one without the silver wrapper, those are not nutty. So if you can't have the nutty one, get the other one. That's all I'm going to say. We are very grateful that the sister thought of that for Cantorial. What a blessing it is. We sing Adon Olam at the end on page 75. It's my turn to bless you now for this new year. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you. May God protect you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May the light of God's face shine upon you, be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's face be lifted up to you. May God grant you peace and a Shana Tova. Shana Tova Tekatenu. Shana Tova Tikatenu.